Coach, another opportunity for you. Coming up with Kentucky coming into town. What do you feel like is going to be the thing that allows this team to finish games after seemingly having Maryland on the ropes last time?
Yeah, I think it's just it's going to be a learning process, or it has been a learning process for us the first 9 games. As much as the Notre Dame and South Carolina game just are brutal for us, I don't think had we played those guys, we would have been able to have prepped for Maryland kind of the way we did. And same with Kentucky now, right? Like, we've played against bigger, taller, faster players that, we're not going to be shell-shocked. We know what we're going to face, and, obviously we'd love to have a little bit more wins under our belt right now, but the non-conference is supposed to prepare you for the Big Ten play, and I thought so far we were prepared for Maryland because of what we had faced in the non-con so far.
What does this last week of practice look like for you guys in terms of energy?
Great. It's a team that's locked in and believes. We talk about it all the time. Just like, you got to believe that you belong. If you don't believe that you belong, then you don't stand a chance. And I told you guys at the beginning of the year, like, we understand. You look at the roster, you look at everybody else's roster we're going to play. You're probably going to pick the other roster. But if we can be scrappy, play as hard as we did against Maryland, we're going to make mistakes. But we can't be fearful of those mistakes. Watching film, it's almost like in the second half we looked a little timid to make the big play. In the first half, a little bit freer, and shots were going up. We were doing what we wanted to after their press. Just getting the group to stay with it and keep believing for all 40. We're never gonna wow anybody, but if we can be scrappy and believe that we belong, we'll give ourselves a chance.
Do you have to go through that process in a game for it to finally click? I mean, I know you don't want to, but you have to go through that more of a learning, especially with a team that you have a lot of new faces. They're trying to learn each other a little bit.
I think so, and the season's still young. We haven't even, what are we, a third of the way through, and you'd like to start to turn the corner really, when things pick back up in Big Ten play. But I think watching it on tape and listening to our kids kind of talk through, not just showing them, but like kind of hearing what Dad's like, oh yeah, I should have taken that shot. Like, I've got to be ready to take that shot. Same with Ella. Sophie, I don't need to dribble that ball. I need to take that shot. And then Lana and KP, the more they learn and grow, we got a handful of people on our team that haven't competed in the Big Ten. And like I said before, I think our non-conference got us ready for it. And I think that's why we were in a position we were in against Maryland.
Coach, what do you feel like is going to be the subtle difference that narrows that rebounding gap you've been having and turns that into a strength of yours?
Yeah, it helps if Lana and KP don't get in foul trouble. That helps because they are our big girls in there. Oh, speak of the devil. But no, it helps us there, and then just challenging our guards to be a little bit more active, and get crashing the defensive rebounds. And I think you think about past years, like Caitlin did such a great job of boxing out. That's why JT was just flying in and get rebounds. Des has had opportunities, but getting more people like doing what Des has done for us on the defensive end.
Jordy practice, how'd she look, and kind of where's she at now?
I think she'll be questionable for tomorrow. I think it'll all depend on flow, but I think all along our idea was for next week to be the time we really ramp her up. So she's looked great in practice. Obviously, we'll go through game warm up. I can't tell you I'll play her. I can't tell you I won't play her. I obviously feel I don't want to throw her out there, but I think the plan is maybe next Tuesday on the road, we really give her some valuable minutes for us.
As you've gotten a chance to, kind of see her more in a more active spot in practice, what's the thing that's amazed you the most about watching her?
Just, her ability to get into the paint and make plays. She can shoot behind ball screens, so it's different than what we've had here in the past because, you can't go under or sink too far on her, but, she's elite in a ball screen as a passer and a playmaker, and trying to get our bigs to understand you better have your hands ready because she's going to get into the paint and she's going to throw it. And she just gives us a different dynamic than anybody on our ball club.
just to see Kelly go in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, it's cool. We've been known for a while. It's crazy. Like you gotta keep it under wraps. Super excited for her. Obviously, Indiana Miss Basketball, legendary high school career at Lake Central, legendary here. National champion, runner-up, defensive player of the year. You just go on and on about what she did, and to have her alongside here is like pretty cool. And super excited for her to go to the WBCA at the NGI and learn a little bit more and bring back a lot of great information for us to continue to get better.
Coach, what do you feel like has been the biggest contribution to what Coach has done just as far as your assistant coaching staff is concerned in bringing these players along?
Yeah, Kelly has such a it's so much easier as a young player to relate to somebody who's already walked in those shoes. And someone like Kelly who's walked it at a high level and done it with such grace and humility. It's like I said, like like she works with our lead guards, and they all, they all really value her opinion and what she says and how she teaches. Always, we talk all the time, like she's always bringing the juice in practice and in games. Like she's kind of our hype man over there. She, same as a player, right? Always brought the energy. Our young guards are kind of like turning into like mini versions of Kelly Kamara.
That helps, right? I mean, you want a bunch of deep.
But like Kelly was a dog, right? Like she was a dog. Like she was committed to the defensive end, not afraid to take big shots. And the more that rubs off on not just our young kids, but someone like Dez or and Ella, the better our team is going to come.
For Lana, I mean, we've seen a little bit of a drop off in her numbers, but what do you feel like is going to be the thing that kind of gets her back going to being that physical presence in the post, scoring the way she was maybe a little bit earlier in the season?
I think it's all about angles and positioning for her and getting her to understand. When she plays against whether it's a smaller post or a bigger post. Smaller post, she just threw the ball over the top of her, right? Like we just lobbed it up to her, she scored it. With these bigger posts, just understanding angles and when to duck in, when to play bully ball, when to, put my eyes on the rim when I'm at 15 feet. She's gonna learn and she's gonna grow, and a tough kid. She's playing through a sprained MCL. You see the big old tape brace out on her and whatnot. Just a tough kid that's committed to doing whatever we ask her to do. And I think she's in here getting work, extra work every day, a lot of film. And I think I've told you guys all this year, like she wants to be great and she's putting in the work, so it'll come.
Is that something that needs to get fixed after the year?
No, I think it's just a grade A, just a little sprain of an MCL. I think us just managing it in practice and try to hold her out. Go ahead, try. Like she doesn't, she's gonna play through it. And I think when we get Pi next week, it'll allow her to, that week we have before we play, it'll allow it to get 100%.
When it comes to Lana and KB staying out of foul trouble, it'll be very important against Kentucky with their big line. But is there anything you guys have done in practice to work on that at all?
Yeah, so a lot of splits, in terms of, just some focus on their body positioning, their arm positioning, not playing physical, but not too physical. And more or less, it's really just, sometimes they put themselves in some really shitty situations, let's be honest, like if their body positioning is right, or KP gets called for a third foul, she's great, and then puts her hand down. Just stuff you can show them on film. And then angles and whatnot in a half-court defense that I think that will just continue to get better.
You mentioned before, how you didn't realize the score that Destiny was until you finally got her.
Yeah.
I mean, to watch her just, do so many different things off the ball or on the ball with her creativity. I mean, what's been impressive about her?
Yeah, she just like I knew she could get to the rim, right, in half court. We saw it. We knew she was a good passer. Like, just her ability to make shots. And she's someone we talked to after the Maryland game. She was letting it fly in the first half, and then, for whatever reason, just didn't quite look to take her open shots after we broke their press. And I think that's a role she's never been in. And I think that's a role that she'll continue to grow in for our ball club, because she is someone who can shoot behind a ball screen. If you go, I think at the start of the fourth quarter, she hit a 3, right? Because they sunk underneath it and she hits it. And I think just keep putting her in those moments. She was great against South Carolina down the stretch, and she was great against Maryland. The kid can just score, and she's got to be comfortable being that scorer for us.
When it comes to Jordy, you're talking about how the post and basically everyone needs to have their hands ready.
Yeah.
How long does that take for everyone to kind of figure out how she likes to pass and kind of the angle she attacks from?
Well, what's been great is I know she hasn't been in full practices, but we've allowed her to do certain splits with us, and so yesterday in practice, Lana gets the wind knocked out of her because she just doesn't quite have her hands ready for a drop-off pass from Jordy. She's just different, right? She can get into the paint and create for others. Outside of Dez, maybe that's our only player in terms of breaking somebody down and getting into the paint. And maybe it'll take another getting the wind knocked out of you or catching one in the nose, but the ball's coming because Jordy's gonna find you.
But there will be an adjustment period with her.
Oh,
on the
for
floor.
for everybody, and on both ends of the floor. I think we have grown, evolved on the defensive side, and this is stuff that Jordy hasn't had opportunities to get live reps, and so it'll be a different world for her to go through scouts and implement it, and we know that Spider on the ball is going to be different than Jordy on the ball defensively, and same thing offensively. It's gonna change. It's almost like we're gonna try to have 2 different packages offensively. Like when Jordy comes in, maybe we do something else, and probably it's got to be really simple until we can get her further along.
Coach, this is going to sound like a loaded question, but what do you like about where you are at right now compared to where you were last season? Seems like there's been bits and pieces.
I don't like getting my ass kicked by 45. I think nobody likes that. But there's 5 teams in the I think in college basketball and women's game, they're just elite on a completely different level than anybody. And we played any of those, it's probably going to end up like that. But I think the rest of them, what I love most about this team is that this team believes that they belong and can compete with just about anybody. And we've seen bits and pieces of it. Now we've got to find a way to continue to push it to 40 minutes as close as we can.
Okay.